Okay, full truth. This is day 3 of our transmission series, and it is extremely early in the morning because I actually don't know how I'm going to keep this going, but I am committed to keeping it going. So right now I am in my workout gear. I don't have makeup on. It is pitch black outside. I've turned on the lights in my office so that I can put this on YouTube, but that's about it. I'm basically going to need to whisper through this episode so that I don't alert my children to what I'm doing. So welcome in. If you are just joining us, I'm not even in the middle. I'm right at the very beginning of a commitment to podcast and show up for every single day for 31 days in October of 2025. And we're calling it the Transmission Series. And I'm posting the audio on my podcast feed, The Narrative Advantage. And then every once in a while, when I feel super brave, I'm doing the video version and also putting that over on my YouTube channel, which everything is linked on my website, which is actually what I want to talk about today, erintrafford.com. So what's really funny is that when you start to get into motion begets motion, right? You've heard this phrase before where it's like attracts like. And the same thing goes for the opposite. Inertia or lack of movement also attracts inertia and lack of movement. And you see this kind of mentality in all different facets of life and business. I mean, it also exists in that idiom where you are the grand total sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, because like attracts like. And then what you attract is what you focus on, and what you focus on is what you become. So if you are attracting in business, broke buyers, let's say, it's like you are the best at what you do. You are incredible at what you do. And you know that you are a premium service. You know that you can do the thing that you do the best and better than anyone else, or at least extremely differently than anybody else. And I'm actually going to make a note of that because I think maybe that's what we talk about in tomorrow's transmission. I've just got this weird notepad going now. Do things differently. But you're attracting, I'm literally writing it down right now. You are attracting people who cannot pay you that price. What is happening there? What is the like that's attracting the like? Well, in the subconscious of what it is that you are projecting into the world, of the narrative that you are exposing, which is creating a resonance frequency, there is some element of like attracts like. There is some element of I want to attract broke buyers. There is a safety mechanism at play inside the way that your narrative is showing up. That is, it's safe for you to live in the identity of my buyers never have the full funds to pay me what I want to be paid. I'm going to let that just sit for a second. And I'm telling you this in all honesty because I used to be that. I mean, when I first started my mentorship business and my coaching business and my consulting business, and this was just before the pandemic started, I was absolutely attracting broke buyers. And what's fascinating is that in all of this, your business becomes a mirror. It becomes a full-blown mirror for everything that is happening internally inside of you. And so the reason I think, we're talking about the transmission series and why I just randomly decided to get on this microphone for at least 10 minutes every single day is because I could feel this inertia inside of me. And I was like, I don't want to attract inertia. I don't want to feel like I'm in a stalled position all the time. I want to feel movement and momentum in the way I'm showing up, because guess what? My ideal client is ready to transform. My ideal client is ready to sit in front of me and be asked really hard questions about why they're not doing the thing that they say that they want to do. And who would I be if I was also not doing the thing that I said that I want to do? I've always wanted to have a daily podcast, always and forever. It's just my way of being. You can talk about this also in the physical realm. So I said I was going to talk about my website, and then I veered off. So what prompted this thought, this channeling today about this concept of movement and mirroring is that I spent a good some part of yesterday updating the YouTube channel, but also updating my website. So it had been a little bit of, a source of kind of this like tweak where I had this fancy, beautiful photo shoot done in the spring of this year. And people were like, you want to know what the honest response was to the pictures? The honest response was, I didn't even recognize you. I had to do a double take when they saw the pictures. And in some worlds, people would be like, wow, that's great. I must look like a celebrity. I must look so good that people are like, what? And in my mind, what was actually coming through was like, this does not look like you. This doesn't look fully authentic. And the reality is that the photo shoot was extremely expensive, and I had a good time doing it. But those gut reactions from folks who were willing to give me that feedback were actually pretty bang on. And I don't want to do another photo shoot right now. It's just too much for me, and I just don't want to handle it. I don't want to deal with it. But what I knew I could do was change the tone of my website to be more me. Because what ended up happening was the website went out with the pictures, and I was kind of pushed in this position of, well, the words on the website need to match the tone of the pictures. And inside I could feel this like misalignment of like, well, but that's not how I am. I'm going to attract the wrong thing. I'm not comfortable showing up like that, especially in the way that I'm articulating my offers. It doesn't feel like the way that I do business because it doesn't feel fully like me. So and guess what happened? This is all a cycle. Guess what happened? I was told, oh, you're going to get this banging new website. You're going to have these awesome new photos, and you're going to have all this stuff, and you're going to have this brand new identity. The identity didn't match who I wanted to be. And so I felt like that side of the business started to feel really heavy and started to feel really like difficult to explain and hard to talk about because there was an extreme mismatch between what I was saying and what I was attracting and what I really wanted. There was an element of like, I feel stuck. I feel like I can't move out of this restriction of this is who I am now, when I knew it wasn't true. So there's a bit of inertia there too, because I stayed stuck with that website and I pushed it off the side of my desk. Like it was sitting on my to-do list, honest to God, for like 6 months. And it was just sitting there being like, update copy on ETS website. And I used Notion in our business. And it was just like set to in progress for 6 months. And it was not in progress. It was being ignored. It was uncomfortable for me to be like, oh my God, I spent all this money and like it really still does not feel right. So yesterday I made it feel right. And I kept the pictures. And you know what's really funny is that once the words on the page and the offers on my website started to really match who I am, the pictures started to feel a little more natural. So I don't feel so bad anymore. And I got into movement. So now on my website, it's like really clear. I've got workshops and other resources. Cool. Clarity Sprint is up there. Story and Somatics are up there. I love both of those products. I am working on something new. It's going to be like a 10-day live experience. I have not built the checkout page. I haven't figured out the dates yet, but that's also percolating and like bubble. Ooh, as I'm saying that, I'm like getting these truth bubbles. I'm so excited. Okay, so that's coming. And like the coming soon is on the website. You can now see where I am going to be coaching. And you can also see where I do my fractional communications work. And it feels so much more aligned with how I want to work and how I want to show up. And so my point in all of this is that I chose the movement toward my truth over the inertia. I don't want to feel that inertia. And it's the same physically. When you start to be inert physically, your body responds that way. When you start to give in to that voice that says, I don't have time to move. I don't have the ability to go to that yoga class, go for that run. put on the weighted vest and go for an evening walk around the neighborhood. When you tell yourself you don't have it, you attract more of not having it. And I'm going to talk more about the movement practice. I'm sure we've got 28 more days of the transmission series. So I'm going to be talking more about how my movement practice and movement in my business energetically has really helped me to show up in new ways and attract new things. So what is kind of like the devotional for today is that our businesses become a mirror for everything that's happening internally. And if it's movement, it's movement. If it's inertia, it's inertia. We also cannot run from what we really want and who we really are. Everywhere you go, there you are. You cannot run from that. You can do your best to hide it with inertia. You can do your best to hide it with being busy and doing work in the wrong direction. But everywhere you go, there you are. Movement feels really, really, really risky, but staying stuck is going to cost you absolutely everything. Until tomorrow.